All right, welcome. You're listening to KQCK radio station. This is Joe here, and I'm with you all afternoon here until about 9 o'clock tonight. We've got an extra special show starting today. Pilot episode, first show of Dog Nanny 911. Stop complaining, start training. We've got Petra here, international expert in dog training. Hey, Petra, how you doing?
How are you, Joe? Thanks
excellent,
for
excellent.
inviting me.
I'm absolutely looking forward to some great weekly shows, learning about dog training, learning basically a whole new set of rules, right?
That's correct.
Let's start off by I just want to get a little background to our listeners out there before we jump right into what you have to say today. Let's talk about how you got started here. You've been doing this a long time, right?
A very long time. I am born and raised in Germany, to be more specific, Bavaria, Franconia. And I have it in my blood to communicate with dogs and other animals too, but especially dogs. My father had it with the birds, and I had the crazy aunt. She liked the cats and all this other stuff, but I was only 12 years old when a neighbor came up and told me that her boxer hates children. And I said, okay, let me have the leash. And I took her for a walk, and I sat down and talked to the dog. And from that day on, she loved kids. I picked her up every day for a walk, and she would sit by the door with the leash in her mouth waiting for me.
Very nice. Very nice. And you just kind of went from there.
It went from there. But I was 14. I actually worked an Irish setter. I was tutoring a classmate, and this dog was vicious. She would bite men, women, kids for no reason. It's called dominant aggressive. Doesn't really need a reason to bite. And she loved bananas, so every time I came over to tutor, I sat down and ate bananas. And I said, you're growling at me, I'm not sharing my banana. One day she clicked, and we started doing the same thing. We went out for walks. I did my little sits and downs the way I think it should be done at 14. And she, too, shed her aggressions. She just needed structure and love, but she had to work for the love.
Right, right. Do you get bit quite a bit, or?
I've never. Oh, actually, I have been bitten twice. In both cases, I wasn't training. In both cases, I was arriving. So now when I come to a client, it doesn't matter if the dog is aggressive or not. The client has to have the dog on a leash. First case, I just got out of my car. I reach in my car to get my paperwork out. I turn around, and the dog is standing right in front of me, huge dog, and just bit me right in the upper leg.
And that's obviously why you were going over there to train it, right?
Correct. And I knew the dog was aggressive. 2 Weimaraners, one of them aggressive. I didn't know which one was what, which one was the aggressive one. And the gentleman just gives the dog the entire leash. Says, oh, he's just going to sniff. So I'm assuming it's the nice dude.
Right,
and he just took me straight down. I mean, ripped my pants, and it's pretty bad. And the second time was a Doberman pinscher. Also dog off leash. I'm walking in the house, and he walks up and bites me in the stomach. But that happened so quick that I didn't even know I was bitten until I was on my way to my next client. He started pinching all of a sudden. I'm looking.
No kidding.
I was bleeding.
You spent an hour training or whatever, and you didn't even know you were bit?
No. I was actually pretty upset with them. The day when I showed up, they were selling their house, and they had a realtor agent come in, with lockbox. So the dog was locked in the backyard. They were gone shopping, and the dog had to watch all morning and all afternoon people going in and out of the house. And then here I am, and Doberman Pinscher is extremely territorial. I own one. And so, I said, you got to put him on the leash, and they couldn't find the leash. And so he just kind of let him go, and the dog did not waste any time and just walked right up and bit me.
Wow.
And then
nice.
He got a little scared because he was actually an agent with farmers insurance.
Gotcha.
So he said, well, we got to think about dog training. Yeah, after I get bitten.
Nice.
As a matter of fact, it happened here in the area. Not
oh,
too
yeah?
far away from here. Yeah, just a little bit east of here.
What do you know? I've seen, of course, with Cesar Millan and the training shows on TV. I've seen that, and I really haven't picked too much up, to be honest. What do you think of the dog whisperer?
Commercialized, and he's never really lied about anything. He said that he was approached by two ladies who asked him if he would like to play a dog trainer on TV. And
he's not a real dog trainer?
No,
What?
Not necessarily. He has never claimed that. Apparently, I've never read it or looked at it. A book out where he clearly says that he came as an immigrant. Rumor has it as an illegal immigrant. I'm legal immigrant, by the way. I got all the papers. But they said, we're gonna shoot a show, and you're quite handsome, and that's one of the things too. I mean, he's a handsome fella, and I have had butted with some ladies in the past, and I said, you just got a crush on the guy. You don't really care about the training. But a couple of things have changed. He openly has kicked dogs on TV a couple of times.
He's kicked them?
Yeah, and he was heavily endorsed by the Humane Society of America.
I bet that was a big deal.
Yeah, the SPCA, and
Right.
then they both ended up stating on their websites that they do not endorse him. So honestly, the politics are about it. I'm not really following up on it, but I just think it's a little weird that somebody takes somebody's dog and takes them to a camp where there are so many other animals, and there are other trainers. So I don't know how much he really does hands-on training. My philosophy is that the owners need to be educated first. That means I do in-home training. I go to the person's house. I walk in and I see things. For example, if you have a dog that likes to steal your food off your plate when you're not looking, then why would you feed the dog in a dining room?
Yeah, right.
Simple things. Don't teach your dog to stay out of a kitchen, especially a large breed, because usually they end up surfing the kitchen counters and going in the garbage and whatnot. So, besides it being a strong health, it's dangerous.
I have 4 dogs.
Yeah.
My bull mastiff, and she's pretty decent weight. I think she's around, and she's lost 20 pounds. I think she's around $1.50, right around there.
Yeah.
She used to get in the trash all the time, and I didn't know what to do because we can't keep it on the counter. So finally, those trash cans, when you walk by them and you get right over them and you go to put the trash in and they automatically pop open. Mm-hmm. As soon as I did that, problem solved. I've never had another problem one time.
And that's preventive measurements. You have a trash digger. Why would you have a trash can that's like right there? Or why would you have chicken the night before from KFC and then leave it in there for 2 days?
Yes.
I always say prevention is half the dog training.
That's asking for it, huh?
Yeah. But I have come up with some good ideas and quick fixes. I have come up with a solution. It's called Dawn. Simply Dawn dishwash liquid.
Okay.
And the first time I actually used it was I used Dawn and a little bit of regular white vinegar and water in a squirt bottle. Mm-hmm. And I had a client spray it on the Christmas tree.
Aha.
Because the dog constantly, crushed took off the Christmas ornaments, crushed him.
And for those of you that are just joining us now, and for those of you listening or watching right now, we are going to have a great time with this show because I am going to go hands-on. We have a puppy that is 12 weeks, bull mastiff puppy, 12 weeks old, and he's a little terror. He's got a mean streak like I've never seen in any dog before, and I've had lots of dogs, and they get very large. His father is over 200 pounds, which is extremely large for a bull mastiff, period.
It is.
But he's built big. And my little guy, he's around 35 pounds and he's 12 weeks. So he's getting to be quite a handful already. And he's very stubborn. I think we got a pretty good match, me and him. He's a lot like me. Even so much if I want to go and pick him up, and whatever. If he doesn't want it, he will growl at me aggressively.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen out of a puppy.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen dogs around that age bare fangs over the tiniest and littlest things. It didn't have to be a Mastiff. I've experienced it with a Yorkshire Terrier
And
at
Chihuahuas.
around 12 weeks old.
So that's what I think about when I think of aggressive dogs. Honestly, I think of the little ones because the little dogs have that. At least the ones I've never liked little dogs too much because they've always been ankle biters, mean to me.
The thing is, the problem is it's not the dogs. That is usually an owner's fault, I should say, really bluntly. When people get little toy breeds, they are overly protective over them. Anything happens, the dog gets picked up, and the owner is the one that shows the fear, and the dog picks up on it, and then it's turned into a fear aggressor. Those dogs are not just bullies; they go off and just bite people. Usually, they're just really scared, and there's a defense mechanism.
Is that why Chihuahuas shake like they do so rapidly all the time? Or
no, that's just because they're bred so horrible. I want to point this out. There is no such thing as a teacup anything. There is no such thing as a teacup Yorkshire Terrier, nor is there a
teacup poodles, huh?
Teacup poodle or Chihuahua. What it means is that those are dogs, they're under the standard of the breed. And you can get anything from temperament issues, etc. A well-bred dog from a good breeder is bred for health and temperament. And the parents were bred to produce better puppies than even the parents were. If you know how to do it, you can people go to a pet store and pay $2,500 for a beagle. Or they can go online and go and put in Beagle Club of America to find out there is a breeder, actually somewhere here in the Gilbert area, who shows her dog was best in show a couple of years ago. That means best dog in the entire country. And my husband's cousin got a dog from her for $500. From the father was the one that won best in show. Wow. Unfortunately, this little guy came out two-tone. He was just red and white, and the judges don't like it. And so he became what's called pet quality, even though he's far-fetched from pet quality. He was phenomenal. $500. This dog is healthy. He has a perfect temperament. There's just no issues, Please, anybody, never buy from a pet store. If you go to a breeder, don't pay the breeder $1,500 and call it a rescue. You call it a rescue when you call the authorities, when you see the dogs living in cages, when you see a power breeder. That's how it goes. And there's the MASH unit with Sheriff Joe Arpaio, which I want to say that is the best thing he's ever done, because the laws here in this country are very weak when it comes to animal abuse, unfortunately, because dogs are property. In my country, they are living beings. They have the status of a child. You hit a dog in Germany, you go to jail. Oh. You cannot crop a duck, and you have to spay-neuter your animals, unless you have a breeder's license, and you can only have a breeder's license if you can prove that your dogs are the creme de la creme.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good.
So I'm glad that you mentioned this, with the shaking and the little dogs are aggressive. It really, really starts when you get your dog. Where do you go? People go online and buy from puppyfinder.com, and then they're surprised when their dogs show up and they're sick, they have broken bones, they have staph infections.
I've heard just nothing but nightmares from mall stores.
Well, yeah, but
plus the prices are crazy.
Yeah, and the thing is that they bought the puppy for $50 at the auction. And they are only USDA regulated, just like livestock.
I've always been a big fan of finding a good dog at the pound, but I fell in love with bull mastiffs.
Yeah,
and that's why I've stuck with the breed. In
the future, if you add another Bull Mastiff Club of America, or go to the AKC.org and go to the breed, and they will give you the information of anybody rescuing in the Southwest.
You know what? It took me 11 months to find my puppy.
I'm pretty sure.
Because I wanted a puppy.
Well, and you did your homework?
Oh, absolutely.
Because this is a breed, if you don't do your homework, you're going to end up with cancer and heart and lung issues.
Yeah, I did not. This was not a hasty decision, that's for sure. I picked him up from Oklahoma. He was good lineage, and we'll see. We'll see how he turns out.
Did you travel there to pick him up?
No, I did the Pet Safe program where they actually have. I did the upgrade where they have a person with the dog the whole time. I mean, I thought that was just as well, to be honest.
Did you meet the parents?
No, on the phone. I saw the parents. I got pictures and all that.
The problem is that usually the registrations are just numbers, and doesn't mean those are the parents. It is extremely important that you see the parents of a dog if you have to purchase. And thank you for mentioning adoption. Mm-hmm. If you go to the shelter, I welcome anybody to go down to the pound and adopt a dog, a cat. It doesn't matter. There are bunnies. Humane Society's got guinea pigs. But if you breed specific, believe it or not, every single breed in America has a rescue somewhere. Even more uncommon breeds, for example, Hungarian Vizslas, you will find a rescue. Did you know that here somewhere is a breeder who breeds wire-haired German Shorthair?
Mm-hmm.
And this lady will give the dogs out only if you are an active hunter. That is fantastic. Because since I live here, I've only seen 2 wire hairs in rescue, and they came
I actually, I know a guy who got one, and it's the worst dog I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
Terrible.
Just like the German Shorthair Pointer, they're really, really destructive when they're little.
And they have a lot of energy. They never stop. Is that right?
Correct. And I'm actually glad we brought this up in comparison to your Mastiff. Usually all the Malassa breeds, Malassa means Mastiff. Yours is a pure Malassa breed. But there are others like the Rottweiler. That was a breed that was created, I should say, with Mastiff in the blood. And so I have seen that those pups, when we do obedience training and we're talking about the real nitty-gritty, the way it's supposed to be, I like to start them usually with 5 months of age because they easily get stressed out. The comprehension span is a little short. They're like, okay, I'm healing. Oops, butterfly. While a German Shorthair Pointer, I will go against the rules 4 months and up, and I will start them at 3 months old. They need it. Weimaraner the same way. Hungarian Vizslas, they want it, they need it. They need brain food. They are extremely smart. They want to work. And especially when you have any kind of dogs, they're considered working breeds. For example, Huskies, high strong.
I try to, I've really tried to get a dog that would adapt to the way we live out here. We live on acreage, and there's a lot of tumbleweeds and things like that. So you obviously don't get a Shih Tzu, or something like that. No, I'm serious. My wife made the mistake of getting a Shih Tzu, and I said, Marie, we're going to have to place this dog. This is not very fair.
It's dangerous too.
And so I immediately started looking for a new home for this dog while my wife learned after about 2 months that's terrible to do, but.
No, not.
We found a good home.
Not really.
We found a good home.
You did actually a very responsible thing because you're right. A Shih Tzu out here where you're at, the predators are everywhere. He can or she could have gotten picked up right out of the air.
And that happens to cats out here on a weekly basis.
Dogs do. People have the dogs on a leash, little Maltese, and there goes, the owl comes down and off goes the dog.
Gotcha. So,
it's a good idea.
Where do you start off in the training when you get? I mean, I'm going to find out being a new client, but what do you do for people out there listening?
Well, the most common question I get to hear is, when do I start training a dog? My dog. When does the dog training start? The dog training starts the moment you bring the puppy home, and I have to tell you that there are clients. They call me and say, well, next Wednesday, we're picking up the puppy from the breeder. And they pick up the pup at noon, and at 5 o'clock, I'm already there. And they learn everything straight off the bat. The puppy will never pee or poop in the house, never jump on furniture when not, allowed to. Never rip up a carpet.
Never pee or
eat
poop
shoes.
in the house. That's amazing to me. It never eats shoes.
Never eat shoes. Never eat up remote control.
We could have
We'll
saved a
sleep
lot of
through
money
the night.
already if I'd have got you 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of remote control, remember what I was telling you? Asking you which is the most chewed object in the house? Mm-hmm. Remote control.
That scares me because I love my remotes.
It's made out of plastic and rubber. And you know why they like it so much? Do you remember that?
Go ahead.
Thanks to Nyla Bone.
Oh, yeah, right.
For some strange reason, sorry to say, but rather idiotic reason, people offer, or the pet stores offer, fake shaped bones made out of plastic and rubber. It says for strong chewers, but then if you turn your little package around, it says on the other side that it's actually dangerous.
Oh, yeah?
And your dog should be fine if your dog should ingest something smaller than a rice grain. It's dangerous. So, with that said, besides training dogs and training the owners, I'm also very consumer friendly. My favorite chew, and there's only one, is just regular marrow bones. You go to your fries over there, you go to the butcher, and you have mastiffs. So you want about, 6 inches for each dog? Nice size. Raw. You don't cook it, you don't bake it, you don't do nothing with it. Raw bones. There's marrow inside, and they will get it. And if they're done, rinse it off, put it in a Ziploc bag, and put it in your freezer.
I think a lot of people don't do the raw bones because they make such a tremendous mess on
They
carpets
don't.
and stuff. They don't?
No, not at all. If you go to any of the pet stores and you buy one of the smoked and whatnot, those are the ones. Most of the time, they have some barbecue color and stuff on it. That's when you ruin the carpet. The dog's fur is all stained.
I think my girl must be unique then, because she'll tear a bone up and she'll eat a whole bone in a half hour.
A raw bone?
She'll eat them pretty quick.
Oh, and that's fine. The raw bone is fully digestible. It's the best toothbrush you can ever give your dog.
Ah.
My Roddy was almost 12 years old when she passed away, and her teeth were seriously pearly white. I have never had to have a dental on any of my dogs, and I do own a 5-year-old. It's a rescue too, so I'm assuming she's about 5-year-old pug with very, very clean teeth, no odor in the mouth. But again, it's fully digestible. It cannot splinter. They will really chew it, and usually they eat the bone marrow out, and then you put it back in the freezer, and then afterwards it just dries out, and they last for years. The average bone we have is I think 8 years old, and
8 years old.
8 years old, and they're going crazy over it. I don't even fill them anymore because pointless.
So they don't eat the whole bone?
No, usually they just go for the inner part, and there's always a little meat on the outside, and then it hardens on its own, just from the air, and it still doesn't splinter or nothing.
That's fantastic.
It is, and you invest per dog 4 years for a couple of years, $4 for a couple of years, and again,
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
it's healthy too. Especially people who believe in the raw diets will give that too. But this is something for, especially with your puppy. One of the reasons he chews a lot right now at his age, all the roots are coming in and the puppy teeth are starting to loosen
And
up.
his teeth are razor sharp.
Those are puppy teeth.
I mean razor sharp.
Yeah.
I've never seen a puppy with teeth this sharp.
Usually puppy teeth are very sharp. When they get older...
Maybe I've forgotten. It's been a
Yes,
while since I've had a puppy.
Because if you touch a dog's canines, they're actually rather dull. Dogs have scissor bites. If you compare it to a cat, if you put a steak in front of a cat and a steak in front of a dog will bite into it, put a paw down and rip it, and then swallow. They usually don't really chew. Cat teeth are very, very sharp. They're like little knives. And so they will actually cut it out and then chew.
Ah.
So dogs have scissor bites, and so it's when I get bitten, that's when I knew what a scissor bite is, especially all the way up my thigh, because he went in, he grabbed, and then he ripped.
You know what my puppy does? He grabs whatever it is he wants to chew, and he starts shaking like a shark.
Yeah, that's instinctive.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, usually when people believe that the way the prey is killed is just by suffocation of grabbing it on the throat, which takes quite a while. When it comes to that, nature has particular ways of having the prey not suffer. So they pick it up, especially when it's a smaller prey, like a bunny. A wolf grabs a bunny, picks it up, and gives it a good shake. The neck breaks immediately. And that's the shake. The spine breaks. Therefore, the prey is also disabled because, you know, a deer can kick pretty good. And if a dog...
Not with a broken neck.
If a wolf gets a kick in the chest, that can be fatal. Also hunting dogs, too. I don't know if you know about some of the Mastiff breeds or...
I've checked on all the Mastiff breeds, and I've had from Great Danes to my Bull Mastiff, but, you know... There are certain characteristics each one have that I don't care for.
Well, the American Bulldogs, for example, or
except for the Bull
the
Mastiff.
pit bulls too. They go out, they do boar hunting, and they wear little jackets to make sure they don't get sliced open by the tusks, stuff like that.
Makes sense.
I'm just glad you don't have a Rhodesian Ridgeback. Anybody who likes Rhodesian Ridgebacks, I always make sure that the people are educated about the dog they get, not saying, oh, that's a really pretty dog we saw.
That's why your dog is so mean.
Well, no, he's got a Thai Ridgeback. I'm talking Rhodesian. That's a real lion hunter.
Oh, the Thai Ridgebacks are not? Because his dog, you can't even touch his feet. He'll bite you. His dog will bite him, and he's the owner. I can't, which amazes me.
Cut his nails, so therefore we have to give him a sedation. Then they cut the nails.
Why don't you just muscle him?
Exactly.
Muscle
him? Oh, muzzle him.
Yeah.
We did that, and he gets it off. I don't know why. Maybe I did it wrong. I mean, I'm very easygoing, you know. I've had him for 10 years, so I kind of. He's an old man.
He's not been trained good.
That's something. I really like the show. Everything just kind of goes with the flow here. Another very good subject to talk about why it is important to start your puppy early with what's called desensitizing. That's part of what I teach as well. Grooming. A lot of people have dogs, they're in need of grooming. Get a Cocker Spaniel, and then the groomer ends up with Band-Aids everywhere, you know? It's the mean dogs coming. So if you know you have a dog that needs to regularly have the ears cleaned, needs to be shaved and whatnot, when you get it as a puppy, start working on the dog. You massage the paws. What I usually do is when we have pups coming in, rescue pups, I work with them before they go to their new homes, and so I put out the nail cutters, and I make little clicky sounds. But then I massage the dog's paws at the same time, and I tell them, that's a nail cutter. And, just make the click sound, because most of the time they're just frightened in the first place. Just the object frightens them already. And you know how little kids are. They get their nails cut, and they scream bloody murder.
Right.
It's because they're rather scared of the action, and so you kind of can explain a child what's going on. Oh, a 2-year-old is a little harder than like a 5-year-old, but still. But try to explain it to a dog. So what you do is, it's called desensitizing. You start massaging paws. You have the nail clippers right in front of you, And don't ever get that, what is it called, pet paw thingy?
The bzzz, the Dremel?
Yeah, you know what? The commercial on TV, that thing is not turned on. We got one. Oh, my gosh.
I have one.
It's horrible.
They have two different ones. One's a real crummy one, and one's a real high-end one.
Yeah, but
they're both scared. They're scared to death of both of them.
It stings because it files down the
quick.
And it gets hot, and the dogs vibrate, and they're really scared of it. And I'm laughing when I see the commercial, and there's a cat going like, yeah, whatever. It's loud. It's really loud.
They're loud. Yeah, that's for sure.
They don't have that thing turned on.
When I take my puppy out of his crate in the morning, I take him out, and the first thing I do is tell him he's a good boy, and I kiss him. And I let him kiss me, because since he's a biter, I don't ever want to get bit in the face. So I figured that was a good way to But see, I don't know. That's why...
do you, plant your lips on him, on the forehead?
Yeah, I kiss him on the snout.
Oh, that's neato. Like this?
Yeah, wherever. I like to kiss my dogs, so...
I kiss every client's dog, but I do it a little different. I don't use my lips. I kiss them like one dog would kiss another dog when they meet each other.
I can't wait to hear this.
When dogs meet, they do not sniff each other's butts to say hi. That's check-in ID.
So you don't do that, right?
No.
Oh, okay, we're good.
As a matter of fact, I have a big sign above my entrance door at home, and it's a round circle, and it's a butt and a dog sniffing, and it's the no butt sniffing zone. But joke aside, No, sniffing each other's butts really gives them an idea who they're dealing with. What gender, age, they can even,
I do know when my dog is sniffing other butts when I kiss him on the nose. Unfortunately.
But greeting is different. Now, they do like sniffing butts generally. I think it's a little bit also of a dominant thing, because if the dogs known each other and they meet like every 2 days, the owners go together for a hike in the morning or whatnot, the dogs always still sniff each other's butt.
Yeah,
but you know what? It's something else. They do check each other's condition.
I think I have that figured out, though. I think you're the cooler dog if you can sniff the other one's butt longer than the other one. You know what I mean? Maybe I could be wrong.
It's a little dominant too.
Because it's pretty tough to take, huh?
But kissing, when I say I kiss my clients' dogs, what I do is I use my thumbs and I just gently pet them over the snout and over the eyes, and I go a little bit into the ears. Because if you watch dogs greet each other,
they lick the ears
they'll lick right here. And that's really saying, I love you, hi, how are you?
Isn't that nice?
And they literally, they stand there, I show up, and they're like, kiss me.
Very cool.
You know what, that's why every time I go home, my dog waits right on the porch, and I go up there, and I pet him, and I do what you just said. He loves it. He goes nuts when I come home, all the time, every day.
But he also goes nuts if you just go to the mailbox and come back, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered?
Hey, let me give you a mic there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh. That's your
so
mic.
People can hear you, because people, it's just dead air if you're not.
Yeah, every time I go away from the house and then I come back, my dog is meeting me at the stairs, and I pet him every single time, and gently pet him all around the eyes and nose, and he loves it. He's wagging his tails, and he's just...
That's typical pack behavior. Now, dogs live in packs, and when humans live with dogs, it's considered an artificial pack. However, have you ever wondered why the dogs go crazy, no matter if you're gone an hour, 5 hours, or 2 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. That happens to me, and it gets a little bit unnerving when you walk in and they're jumping all over you, and I hate when they jump on other people.
Now, that's a problem. But I wasn't even going that far yet. But I get this question all the time. Why is it I'm just going to my mailbox? Most of the time they're like watching me going to the mailbox. I come back in and it's like I was gone for hours. That is territorial. You leave and you go right back into the pack's territory, which is your house. The moment you step in, it's kind of the yard too, but you're really stepping into the living quarters the moment you step into the door, and you will get your greeting. Now, the way you greet it would tell me where you at in the pack. So when I come home...
Oh, so you'll know right away how I am with my dogs.
Yeah,
as soon as you see them.
When I come home, they greet me. My Dobie usually has one of her toys, and her butt wiggles, and she all smiles, and the puck circles once, circles twice, and then sneezes and just kind of hops on the spot. But it wouldn't jump on me, they wouldn't paw me, none of that.
I only have one dog that does that, my little guy, not the puppy.
Well, imagine a canine pack, no matter if it's domestic or wild, and an alpha left for whatever reason, the leader of the pack, and comes back in. Do you believe that any of the others will literally jump on this one?
No way.
It's disrespect. Not the pups, maybe, and adult dogs
tolerate it.
They tolerate it until a certain age of a puppy, though.
Until they decide you don't do that anymore.
Well, yeah, it has also to do with development, but and that's also when I get a call and it's like, we got 3 dogs and one of them starts to attack the other one. They grew up together. They're a little bit of different ages, and all of a sudden they're attacking each other.
And that's usually females, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. Actually, no, has really necessarily nothing to do with it.
It doesn't have anything to do with the sex. I've never seen a female attack a male dog, ever.
Oh, I have. Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
well, I'm
absolutely.
sure you have. But
absolutely. No, what I usually hear is, well, she's the alpha, or he's the alpha. That's not the case. Because alphas are mellow, They're calm, they're set, they're settled. They will never start a fight. They cannot afford it. Now, if our domestic canine, we have to go back in the traits of the original, wild canine, and it doesn't have to be a wolf, it can be African wild dog, which is my favorite comparison, because they're always happy. But if you ever get your hands on a video, you see all of this. For example, one goes out and goes defecates and comes back in, and everybody just greets them. There's all the kissing in the face or the jumping, depending on what status they have in the pack. I almost lost it there a little bit. The whole idea of the alpha is that an alpha in nature cannot waste that kind of energy to start fights. You see what I'm saying? It's most of the time unestablished underdogs, young males, and they have the little rivalry going on, their little fights and stuff, because there are too many. Often who loses at some point also has to venture out of the pack. But alphas themselves are usually really, really calm dogs. I can spot them in a heartbeat. You get like a new puppy, and you have an alpha at home, an alpha within your sub-pack. And this particular dog will not snarl or bite the puppy or viciously attack. Now, first of all, there is something that, as we already said, that an adult dog usually doesn't go after a baby. If they do, there's something wrong. But the puppy bounces on the alpha once, twice, up to 10 times, and then usually the alpha says, that's it. Mm-hmm. And the discipline is what I've experienced and seen, and I've fostered a lot of dogs and had a lot of experience with this, hands-on. They usually just get up and lay on the pup. Just squish him for a couple minutes.
I've never seen that.
All the time. I used to foster, I raised like a litter for the AWL. Mm-hmm. And my Rottweiler she was the perfect nanny for me. I mean, she was taking over the discipline because they were bottle feeders, and they usually can get quite rowdy later on in life. And she was kicking in where I couldn't. And if one of the pups just did one too many, she'd just get up, and people's like, oh my God, what was the noise? Oh, Chevy just laid on a pup. Don't worry about it. Pressure is part of a dog's learning experience. Also, pressure is generally there. How all the pups crawl underneath the mom. It's not just for the warmth, it's also for comfort and security and whatnot. Pressure is constantly there. It's part of canine communication. When your dogs play, you know how they kind of push into each other? Mm-hmm. It's a dominant move. They play to try to get each other off balance and whatnot. Pressure is huge, and so therefore pressure is part of dog training. I'm a certified CA as well, meaning it has to do with chiropractic. And when my Rottweiler was also adopted, pretty bad history, she had signs of arthritis, and I would massage her. And I realized that she had pressure points around her bottom area and on her shoulder area. I get the fastest sits and downs out of a dog who's never sat or down before, just by touching a particular spot. Some dogs are more sensitive than others. Some are so sensitive, I barely touch them when their whole coat moves. It's wonderful. You can establish a first-time sit with a light touch, and your dog will sit 80% in the beginning on their own, versus that pushing the butt down, which is actually by the wind, that's so good for the spine. So that's another thing. A dog's nervous system is very similar to ours. So I teach also, how you handle your dog and whatnot.
Gotcha.
So.
For those of you out there listening, you're listening to KQCK radio station, as you know, and this is the pilot show for Dog Nanny 911. Stop complaining, start training. And I've got Petra here, international dog trainer, done lots of dogs, been doing them a long time. Some of the things you are going to learn each week, and I've got some good questions for you here, because I'm sure other people want to know too. And starting next week, we'll start taking calls. That's the plan. Today, I wanted to leave the phones off so we could kind of get to know you. You'll be able to train dogs to stop peeing in the house.
Correct.
You can train dogs to stop fighting through fences. That's a big one.
And you experienced that.
I have a major problem with that.
And the solution, without ever having met your dogs at this point, just the tip, but it sunk in.
They haven't done it once since I talked to you.
And the idea of my dog training is First of all, I want to make it really clear. My dog training does not involve clickers. There is no food given during the session.
No shock collars.
No shock collars, no prong collars, no chokers, nothing. You have a regular collar, a 6-foot nylon leash, not a double layer, just a regular, because you want it also very comfortable with holding the leash yourself.
You don't do treats either?
They can have the treat after the session is over, because my dogs have to sit. I say leash. They lift their heads. You unhook them or hook them on. But later on, you say good training, and they get their little paycheck, and that's treat.
So now I've been training my puppy for 6 weeks, already wrong. So I take him outside, go potty, and then when he goes, I say good boy, and I give him a treat.
No, that's different. That's a little different. There is nothing wrong with that.
So when I pull the treats out, he's not going to take a dump in the house because he wants one, right? That's my only concern.
Yeah, you got to make sure that you're not baiting a dog.
Right.
It's supposed to be a reward. He has to earn it. But when you have a pup that young, you just want to have him have a connection. Okay? What I'm saying is, I am not going to have a treat in my hand, raise it, and then say sit. So when you're out of treats, the dog looks at you and goes,
like, sorry,
I'm out of sit.
Go to PetSmart.
go to PetSmart, and then when you come back, I might think about the training. That's not how it goes. When you start your training session, and homework is generally 20 minutes, dogs under 6 months, I'd rather have the owners do it like 5 times a day, 10 minutes, more frequent but shorter, so you don't stress the puppy out and it stays fun. But after you're done, dog sits. You unhook it, you say, great dog training. You tell me how proud you are. I tell you this, your dog rather wants to hear how proud you are, that they did a good dog training. They couldn't care less about the treat, seriously. But generally, then you give the treat. And your dog will learn that, and you will get always 20 minutes of the best workouts.
I have a challenge question for you here. And one of the things that I really want to accomplish with my puppy is... I like to let, because we're totally enclosed with 6-foot fences and everything, I want to be able to let him out, and so he can watch the property. Because people are driving up and down the road. I say a dog is the best deterrent over anything.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you were a criminal, I don't think you'd go in when you see a giant dog when you could go next door without one.
And it's a very good idea.
So what I'm getting at, I have a lot of animals, from chickens to peacocks walking around, guinea hens. I've got deer. I have baby deer all the time. What are you going to be able to make it so my dog will not attack any animals when I let him out my front door?
Yes.
That's amazing.
And there's because of one and one thing only. You're the alpha. You're the boss.
Even if I'm not there, he will not eat the animals?
Well, he's going to be supervised by somebody, correct?
Well, I mean...
The reason why you don't...
Well, initially...
He is a problem I have.
Initially.
Yeah. When you have your dog completely 100% unsupervised, you never know if he actually did it. Secondly, you are putting him out for a little bit of danger too. There are a lot of sick people in this world. You know, a friend of mine had her dog just in the front yard. Somebody drove by and shot the animal.
But my property's enclosed.
Correct, but hers was too. Just some punks driving by. It was a good neighborhood. They just shot the dog.
Well, they can shoot anybody.
Correct.
But
there are always, some sort of dangers, or some fool walks onto your property and your dog does the job, and then they turn around and, they're always dangerous. But here's the deal. He will do it. He will do it. But the idea is that your dog never bites because he feels like it. A trained dog, people say, well, he's just protective. No, there's a difference between aggression and protection. Aggressive dog bites whenever he or she feels like it. The owner says stop, and the dog won't listen. A trained dog knows when it's on duty. I give you a good example. You come to my house, you're invited. My Dobie will love you and be so polite. I can trust her around the smallest kids. She could have a bone and be trustworthy of a kid she's never met before. No.
And that kid can take the bone?
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
Now, here's the deal, though. Do you think I would even let it come to that? No, because I'm responsible.
That's right.
I will not give my dog a bone if I have guests, because she's still a dog.
Right.
Okay? I mean, I might know a little further than others. I would see a change in her before anybody would even slightly think about she might change her mind at some point, someday. But I'm the superior being, and I take prevention. Again, prevention is half the dog training. In any way, it's also half the protection of you and the dog and whatever else.
So are you trying to prime me up to say don't have unreasonable expectations?
Yeah, because it depends on what time frame you're looking at. Your dog has to be mature.
I'm in no rush.
Good. Thank God. Because
I'm in no rush.
Usually people have 6-month-old German Shepherds or Rottweilers and they want Shih Tzu trained, and then after time, you know what? Your dog needs to be 1.5 years, and then you need to go to a good company. They need to evaluate your dog, and then they will tell you if you can, have protection training on your dog. Personally, I think, and this is also our sport, I personally think private people shouldn't have weapons on forepaws. I think if you're a police officer, military, whatnot, and you have a dog, like even Parks and Recreation has totally trained dogs, if you're a professional handler, because let's look at it. How many dogs die in our shelters because they done something little at home that could have been easily trained away? And here's somebody wants a weapon on faux pas. How often do I hear people go to the dog park and somebody shows up with some dog that goes ballistic, People are not always in control.
Well,
but in your case, what it will mean is training.
Right.
He needs to respect you to the point where he knows those are your animals. He cannot disrespect you and go. They're part of the pack here. And you're the leader, not him. So therefore, going after one of the animals and injuring them, no matter what prey drive is there, he needs to listen to you, and he will respect. Naturally, he will listen to you because the hierarchy will tell him, you're the boss, If you have a dog that has been trained wrong or not trained at all, whatnot, and then, or I have to say, you get a dog at some point older, and you get a dog with a high prey drive,
which bull mastiffs have.
Which bull mastiff have,
Mm-hmm.
and you're surprised that one of the chickens are taken down or whatnot, Then I'll be like, hello.
Angie is almost 8, and Angie, if I let her go and she gets excited because the neighbors have their dogs barking at her through the fence, she'll take a cruise around if I don't run out and call her and get her in, because she's very obedient. But she'll take a cruise around and she can catch those guinea hens like nothing.
Oh yeah.
She had a bad influence. Her male counterpart would just eat them. Would eat almost anything.
So copy behavior?
He's no longer with us,
Yeah.
and she won't kill them. She takes them in her mouth and brings them to me. And she'll drop them on the ground, and they're fine. And she just does it to play, I do believe, because they play dead. So she's got them in the mouth. Now, if they try to escape, she'll press harder to keep hold them.
Okay.
But they don't. I guess they've learned. So she drops them, and they're fine. She's never hurt one.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So you're her leader, you're the boss, and you need to take actions to show her that you don't like it. And it can be as simple as letting her cruise on a long line. The moment she goes for one of the chicken or whatever, you need to have a verbal command, tell her to stop, and then you offer her something better. See, I don't do punishment. I don't do no. You tell her, for example, stop, or don't, or whatever you want to do. Nope, up to you. And then what I usually do is when I see a dog going for the bad, I say, hey, I have something better for you. Why don't you come see me? I say, come. And the dog looks at the chicken, looks at me, goes, yeah, you know what? That's actually more fun seeing you. And then they get a good rubbing and good come. I'm so proud of you. And really, it goes away. But when you have a dog that has this particular behavior, so it's not a surprise we're talking about here, it's predictable, then you let her out on the long line. She has some freedom, yet she knows she's controlled by you, and she knows that her actions can be immediately shut off.
And then eventually you get rid of the long line.
Yep. It goes step by step. You don't just unhook it, for example. You do it step by step. It's also a part of what's called desensitizing. You will start dropping the leash and letting her walk around, dragging it. It gives her still a sensation of being led. Now, every dog is different, just like we humans. Even if it's the same breed, same gender, whatever, even age could be the same. Every dog is different. They have the different personalities. Some pick up quicker. Some, are a little bit more strong-willed.
I know a question we're going to get a lot, and
Yeah.
I just want to give people an idea of what they can expect. because this is very exciting to me, and I know people that have dogs. Most of them will be excited to have a dog trainer on that they can call in and talk to and listen to and get tips each week, and hire you if they want to have you come out and do personal stuff. There's dog debarking, and little dogs have that right. I'm totally against that. I have a yappy dog, and it drives me nuts to the point where I would, in a minute, I would get rid of her.
I'll stop it.
The problem is I love the dog. I cannot stand the constant yapping.
Let me tell you, if I tell you that I have had a client with 2 full-grown basset hounds, and they stop barking. Now, if you get a basset hound and you call me and complain about it, I will have a good chuckle. Because you know what you're getting yourself into. If you know you have neighbors that are going to call the police or call the, barking dog hotline,
right?
Then it's almost a little bit unfair to get, a beagle or a basset hound, because all I can say is know your breed.
My girl's a corgi that barks like crazy.
And the corgi barks because the corgi is a herding dog, so they have to be vocal. The corgi is the smallest of all herding dogs. They're tough, rugged. There are 2 different types of corgi, by the way.
She's amazing.
The Welsh and the Pembroke.
Yeah, she's Welsh.
Yeah. And they are herding dogs. They are tough. They jump on a sheep's back if they have to get them suckers to go where they want to. And Australian Shepherds are barkers, herding dogs. Border Collies, if you ever seen one of the agility competitions, they bark in excitement as well. But the vocals, there are vocals. It's not necessarily that they're just barking at the sheep. It is a part of their type of communication. They are communicating with the bark and letting the herder or the shepherd or whatever know exactly what's going on. I know when my dogs bark, I know exactly what it's about. I know when I'm going to say, I don't want to hear another sound, or if they bark like 3-4 times, but I know they're outside, they're wrestling, and they have their short little barks, I know they're just wrestling. But they know no more than 3-4 times, and it's like, okay, that's it. But there are many ways of teaching your dog not to bark. But again, know your breed.
I'm so excited to hear that.
So I find it unfair, if somebody, like I said, I get a lot of dachshund calls. Oh, man.
Those are the ones, the hot dogs?
Dachshund are hounds as well.
Yeah, hot dogs.
Yeah. Dachs means badger, and hund means dog. So practically, exactly translated, dachshund means badger dog. Those are very small dogs. There are actually 3 types, actually 4 types. There's one type that's actually not really known in the States. It's called a Kaninchendackel. They're really tiny, and they're really, really bred for bunnies. They're really tiny, but they're just as tough. There are standards. You rarely see a standard dachshund in America. I've seen maybe 2, and only in dog shows. My family always had standards, and one of them was actually also a show dog back then. And I owned a wire hair named Balduin. And if I would walk with him out, it was just a kid myself. Back then, I was 10 years old, and he would dive into any bunny hole he could find, One time he brought me a wasp nest. That wasn't so cool. But he listened, he dropped it and ran with me. We were like, let's go. But dachshunds are hounds, so they're loud. They really, really need to bark for communication. A badger is a very powerful animal. Did you know a badger can sever your arm with one bite?
I've had badgers.
Yeah.
They're dangerous.
Yeah, so you're the man of the wild. You know a lot about different species of animals.
Well, badgers are related to the wolverine.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. So here you have a badger in a hole, and you're sending in a dachshund to agitate it. So bark number 1 means there's one in here. Bark number 2 is, come on, sucker, follow me.
Oh, that's their job, to catch badgers.
Correct. Now the dachshund comes back out. And now he's also saying, we're coming out, don't shoot yet, because he doesn't want to be shot. So if somebody calls me and complains about a dachshund barking, I say, well, or a dachshund digging, because they go down in the burrows.
You got to tell them, get rid of your badgers. It'll quit barking.
Get rid of the badgers. No, the thing is that you see, the hunter has those dogs. Do you think they bark all day long? No, they bark when they work, and that's the point. I had a gentleman bet me that I cannot make a husky heel, because they're sled dogs. They automatically pull. And I said, that's such a bunch of crock. And I bet him $100 per dog. And he brought me both dogs to my house. I started them on my front lawn and just a couple steps to the sidewalk in a cul-de-sac. By the time we went to the sidewalk, both dogs already perfectly healed. One like the other. One was 7 and one was 9 years old. And he couldn't believe it. Well, for me, this was easy breezy. This is a dog that has been bred to pull one person all the way in the back, usually about 10 dogs, pulling this guy through rugged and very dangerous terrain. Now, if you have a breed that just pulls and does whatever it wants to, hello, not very safe. Quite deadly, actually. So this is a dog that can take the slightest changes, He decides all of a sudden 10 dogs need to go to the left, to the right, They also do make decisions. They know, you know what, Marsha, we shouldn't go to the left. I think that might be more dangerous than going to the right. They will communicate too. And they bark too. They talk back and forth. He whistles. They answer. And it's also like, here we come, so they don't run anything over. Get out of our way. But, yeah, any husky I have ever healed, same thing with Malamutes. Great. By the way, we have a great husky rescue here. Ashra is called. Ann Hammersmith.
We're going to have to get all these resources on the website.
Yep, I got all of it. I have actually written
on
down
a page for you.
yeah.
Where can people go and check out your website?
They can go directly online, and you can just go on Google and type in Petra, Petra. That's my first name. Dog Nanny 911 or Dog Nanny 911 Arizona.
Is that what your website is? Dog Nanny 911.
Actually, I hate to admit it, but I changed it a little bit. It's still the same. On my little expired card, I have. Well, you can go to Dog Nanny 911 Obedience /webs.com, or you can go to freewebs.com, Dog Nanny 911 Obedience, and then a slash. But again, all you have to do practically is put in Petra Griffiths, and I come up. Google loves me. All kinds of stuff pops up, from the Pug Rescue, who was a little sneaky. Terry Wood runs Arizona Pug Rescue, and she wanted me to give a little insight on my beliefs in doggy doors. And it was supposed to be internal for the group. I'm a member with the Arizona Pug Rescue. And she's an editor and writer herself, and she just kind of modeled it together. And all of a sudden I get emails saying, this is the best article I've ever read about doggy doors. I've never seen anything like it. I was like, who are you? Well, I read it on the internet. Well, she tricked me. She said it was so good it got published, so it's still fine on the internet. I did a little research on...
And you're not a fan of doggy doors, right?
No, I did research on doggy door dangers, and I was kind of surprised because all the information you get is if your dog's outside, like bee stings, when you're not home, theft.
Right,
big time.
right.
Dogs get stolen, or people crawl through your door and rob you. What goes out can come in, We had it that a dog jumped somebody's fence, went through the doggy door, went inside and killed a little dog.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen and heard all kinds of stuff. A coyote, same thing, went in, grabbed the poodle, went back out. That's smart. But it was always what could happen once the dog is outside, unsupervised, goes in and out.
Right.
So I was looking for more. I was looking for behavioral issues when it comes to doggy doors. And the largest problem I'm seeing with doggy doors is soiling the house. And I usually hear, my dog is 3 years old, I got a doggy door, she knows how to go outside, yet she pees and poops in the house. Of course. She goes outside when she really has to go. She knows where it's at. But if she wants to mark her territory, she goes and pees in the house. She doesn't want to go outside. She knows exactly how to do it. So usually when somebody says, my dog is 2 or 3 years old, it's peeing and pooping in the house, or just peeing in the house, I said, have you checked it, got a vet check done, everything is okay.
Gotcha.
Got to make sure. And then I say, oh, you have a doggy door? How'd you know? Because your dog pees in the house.
Well, we're going to have to hold that thought. An hour flew by like seconds. Yeah, we're already over our time here, which is awesome. It's going to be a great show each and every week. So
yeah, we're going to be specific on particular information. We're going to start with puppy next week, like really puppy.
Okay.
What to do when you bring your puppy home. The idea is avoid the puppy blues. that might be a good idea for next.
Nice, and I will
name for the
definitely
segment.
get that out there so people will know. So just know it's every week now at 2:30. Is that right? No, 3:30.
3:30.
3:30. Sorry, got to lose track of time once in a while. 3:30 each and every week on Tuesday. You will have Dog Nanny 911 to teach you how to take care of your dog, how to train your dog, become part of the pack, learn the psychology of dog.
And
right?
My phone number is 480-331-3193. And if you can't reach me on the phone, it's nicely set up. It will go also into my emails. And
Nice.
It will alert me in any way that somebody wants to get in touch with me.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to go and take a walk and go and meet my dogs. So stay tuned. We've got the Mark Windsor Show on starting at 5. Mark with Tom Diller as a co-host. Don't know who their guest is tonight. And then at 6:15, we have Money and Motivation with Nancy Fleming. And I know she's got a fantastic guest tonight as well. So all of you, I'm going to send you back to some great tunes here. Please pay attention to our sponsors and enjoy.